Hi guys, we're back and we're doing language. We are finishing up, well, we finished reading, but we're finishing up some of the work to do with Little House in the Big Woods. And so we're going to work primarily with that last chapter still, 13. And we're going to work on 2 pages in your activity book. Go ahead and get out this one that says Little House on the Prairie. And I'll explain why it says that. And then go ahead and get out the page, the following page that says word boxes, okay? Okay, so this says Little House on the Prairie because we think of all these as being the Little House on the Prairie books. It's a collection of books, and this one happens to be Little House in the Big Woods, which I'm pretty sure was her very first book that she wrote. Yes, Little House in the Big Woods. Then she wrote one called Farmer Boy, and then Little House on the Prairie, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you've got this ready, it's basically a follow directions. We'll go ahead and read it together, but we won't take the time for you to actually do it with me because that would take too long probably. So it says for the first little box, if you like the story so far, color all the L letters red. So every L letter, and there's only 2, right, in the first word, color them red. If not, if you don't like the story, color those L letters green. If you want to pause, do it, or if you just want to read through it and do it, we'll go a little quickly. If the story is a biography, color the I letters yellow. If it is a historical fiction, color them brown. Is this a true story? Yes. About someone's life? Yes. So it is a biography. It's actually an autobiography. She wrote it about her life. So it is a biography, so you would color the capital I letters yellow. Okay, if there are quotations in this chapter, color the T letters orange. If there are no quotations, color them blue. So how do we know? We just kind of have to flip through it looking for those quotation marks. And I see quotation marks on page 184. And this is Pa talking. When I went out to the Deer Lick, I climbed into a big oak tree. So on. I was a little tired. There I sat. The big round moon. It was then lots of quotation marks, okay? So there are quotation marks. You're going to color the letters, the T letters, orange. Okay? Color the E letters purple if Laura is your favorite character, so that's up to you. Color them tan or kind of a light brown if another character is your favorite that's not Laura. The next one says color the H letters pink if the story is funny. Color the H letters orange if it is not funny. Okay, color the O letters blue if you would like to be one of the characters in this story, if you would have liked to have been there and done that. If it is not your cup of tea, you would not want to be one of them, color the O brown. The next one says color the U letter purple if you think other students would like to read this book. If you think nobody else would ever want to read this book, color that U pink. Color the S letter red if you call anyone in your family Ma. Your dog, your father. Color it orange if you don't. If you never call anybody Ma. Hey, Ma. Okay, kind of an old-fashioned word, right? Next, color the N letter green if you would like to watch a TV episode of Little House on the Prairie. If we were together, we would watch the whole video of Little House on the Prairie. It's great. But you know what? Well, libraries aren't open. You could order it on Amazon. Little House on the Prairie. It's at school. I will bring a copy of the video, but you could look on Amazon and order the, I'd like you to get the right one though, so I will bring it from school and show you. Color it purple if you don't care about watching. The TV episode is different than the movie. The TV episode starred different characters. I watched probably every one of those growing up. But there's also a movie that kind of puts everything into one movie with different characters, and I really like that one too. But the Little House on the Prairie collection is, to me, a lot of fun to watch. Color the P orange if you know why the author wrote this story. If you don't know, you weren't paying attention. Why did she write it? Remember that? We talked about that way back when. She didn't want to lose all those memories, right? She wanted to make time seem to stand still and relive it. And the last one, color the R letters brown if Laura is older than you. Color them orange if she is younger than you. Well, I looked at the very back of it. Doesn't tell you how old she was, but I looked at a little short Meet Laura, and it says when she was born how long they lived in the different places, and I figured out by the time she was living in Little House in the Big Woods, in this, she was about 6 years old. I just calculated where they lived for how long, and she's about 6, so I would go with she was younger than you. So that would be orange. She got married at 18. People did things a lot younger then because normally people didn't live that long, but she happened to live just a few weeks into turning 90. About 3 weeks after she celebrated her 90th birthday, she passed away. So I'll be reading to you a little bit about that. Okay, so the next page looks like that, and if you guys want to do this on your own, please feel free. I put chapter 13 up at the top. Using chapter 13 again, says find 4 new words from the chapter that you are not familiar with, or words that you think other students might not know. Maybe you do, but a lot of other kids wouldn't. Write the words, definition, draw an illustration. So you know what an illustration is, it's a picture. So I picked 4 words that I will give you for free. If you want to pick your own, you just go ahead and do that. But I found some words that I thought, if you know them, maybe some other children wouldn't be familiar with them. Maybe you're not familiar. So let's take the first box. Okay, so the word I chose, let's see how they do that. They go like that, and then they have, I chose a word from page 182, if you want to write that down. And the word is in the very first sentence. See if you know this word. Withered. Now, the story gives us some clue because that's in the context. It's called a context clue. You get a clue from the rest of the sentence what the word might mean. The grass was dry and withered. So I looked up the definition for withered, and when it comes to plants, that's basically what it says. It means to be dry and shriveled. Now, withered can be used for people. It can be used in different ways. But dry and shriveled. So you can draw some plants that are dry and brown and shriveling up, something like that. Okay, the next word I picked for you guys was on page 184, if you choose to use this one. The word is hearth. And that's 184. The definite, and there's a clue. The weather grew colder all day, and that night there was once more a fire on the hearth, and the windows were shut tight and chinked for the winter. Where is, it's on a fireplace, where exactly is it, the hearth? Well, I looked it up, and the definition is the floor. I've always thought of a hearth as being like the mantle on the top. I don't know if we use it that way, but it's the floor of a fireplace. And then you can do the illustration, the drawing. But the hearth is the floor of the fireplace. Okay, I took the privilege of choosing your next word on page 184, same page. And the word I chose was grubs. Now, I wasn't even sure what grubs meant. I've heard of it. I knew it had something to do with an insect. So I looked up the meaning, and actually grubs is the larva stage of an insect that would go through metamorphosis. So it is before metamorphosis. So you can do a butterfly larva or something like that. So grubs is larva. And it says, talking about the big bear, he was so fat from feasting on berries and roots and grubs all summer. So he was obviously eating berries and roots and insect larvae. So the last one I picked, I know Zach would know this word. I know for sure he would be very familiar with this word. It is venison. Right, Zach? Because I'm sure you have had venison in your life, and it is found on page 185. I didn't even have to look this one up. It is deer meat. That's all I know of it to mean, the meat from a deer. Just like beef would be from a cow, pork chops would be from a pork, no, a lamb, or lamb chops. Pork, I guess, would be from a pig. But anyway, I'm not a big meat person, but deer meat is venison. So you can draw a cool picture of a deer, hopefully still alive and in one piece, and or you eating some deer meat. So however you want to illustrate those, you just feel free to do that. That'd be cool. But I would like to read to you something right now. I don't know if your book has this at the very end. Mine is kind of a special hardback copy. Maybe you have it, maybe you don't. You can always check, but it's entitled Meet Laura, and it gives you information about the author, Laura Ingalls Wilder. It goes like this. I feel like we missed, I don't know. I feel like we missed a question. But anyway, it says, Laura Ingalls Wilder was born in the big woods of Wisconsin on February 7th, 1867, to Charles Ingalls and his wife, Caroline. When Laura was still a baby, Pa and Ma decided to move to a farm near Keysville, Missouri, and the family lived there for about a year. So I figure she was about 1 there. Then they moved to land on the prairie south of Independence, Kansas. After 2 years in their little house on the prairie, the Ingalls went back to the big woods, so I figured then she was 3 by then when they moved back to the big woods to live in the same house they had left 3 years earlier. So I think she was about 3 to 6 years old during that time, because they stayed there in the big woods for 3 years. So she would be about 6 by the time they moved away from the big woods. These were the years that Laura wrote about in her first book that we just read, Little House in the Big Woods. In the winter of 1874, when Laura was 7, Mom and Pa decided to move west to Minnesota. They found a beautiful farm near Walnut Grove on the banks of Plum Creek. Now that's where the TV series takes place. The next 2 years were hard ones for the Inglesons. Swarms of grasshoppers devoured all the crops in the area, and Mom and Pa could not pay off all their debts. The family decided they could no longer keep the farm on Plum Creek, so they moved to Burr Oak, Iowa. After a year in Iowa, the family returned to Walnut Grove again, and Pa built a house in town and started a butcher shop. Laura was 10 years old by then, and she helped earn money for the family by working in the dining room of the hotel in Walnut Grove, babysitting and running errands. The family moved only once more to the little town of DeSmet in Dakota Territory. Laura was now 12 and had lived in at least 12 little houses. Laura grew into a young lady in DeSmet and met her husband, Almanza Wilder, there. That's why her name is Laura Ingalls Wilder. Laura and Almanza were married in 1885. She was 18 years old, and their daughter, Rose, was born in December 1886. By the spring of 1890, about 4 years later, Laura and Almanzo had endured too many hardships to continue farming in South Dakota. Their house had burned down in 1889, and their second child, a boy, had died before he was even a month old. First, Laura, Almanzo, and Rose went east to Springfield, Minnesota to live with Almanzo's family. About a year later, they moved south to Florida. But Laura did not like Florida, and the family returned to DeSmet. In 1894, Laura, Almanzo, and Rose left DeSmet for good and settled in Mansfield, Missouri. When Laura was in her 50s, she began to write down her memories of her childhood, and in 1932, when Laura was 65 years old, Little House in the Big Woods was published. It's never too late, right? It was an immediate success, and Laura was asked to write more books about her life on the frontier. Laura died on February 10th, 1957, 3 days after her 90th birthday. But interest in the Little House books continued to grow. Since their first publication so many years ago, the Little House books have been read by millions of readers all over the world. And now you guys can count yourself among those millions of readers. Makes it kind of special, huh? Okay, so that ends language for today. And I don't think we're going to do a drawing lesson today. We'll just go right to our history, okay? So I'll see you in a while. Bye-bye.